All right. Who was that? Who has a spiritual experience they'd like to share with the rest of us, please?
If nobody does, I have one.
Okay, very good. Just speak up loud and clear.
Yes, sir. This one's not mine, but this one was told to me today, and it was told that it happened yesterday.
Okay.
And it's about a friend of mine, and he said he was picked up, and he took a test, and he failed the test. But the test was about...
Sobriety test?
No, he said that they were showing him a whole bunch of different pictures, like family and like physical things. And they asked
you mean a UFO?
Right now. Right, a UFO.
Okay, very good, okay.
Like he was taken on a ship. And they have it on the camera where it has like motion detected both times.
Yes.
When he had that activity. But they asked him if they were to take him at that moment, would he be able to like leave all of that? And he said no. And I guess he said that he had help, like there was beings inside it. Like he wasn't able to speak, but you know how they speak telepathically, so you're able to hear him.
Yeah.
That's how he was explaining it. And he said somebody's helping him on the test.
And that's right. It is telepathic. Yeah, that's how they communicate.
Right.
Telepathically. And I do have some spiritual experiences for you all. I mean, in regards to things that I've already experienced and merging them together with things I'm experiencing right now. Because we are definitely living in the hereafter. Is everybody aware of that?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And we need somebody to check the human resonance and see what the human resonance is up to right now. Patah, I know you stay on top of that. What is the human resonance up to, Patah? At DC?
Check.
Yeah, please check. Okay. Anybody here have any idea in some of the indicators or signs that we're in the hereafter, or that we've made a dimensional shift?
A lot of energy hitting the planet.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of energy is on the planet. Okay.
Also, not a lot of star constellations at night.
You don't see a lot? You said you don't see a lot?
I see more. Not a lot.
Okay, and another sister says she see more.
I started to see more, yeah.
That's in London, though, right, Cheryl?
I see more.
Chesapeake.
Not me, the other sister.
And where are you located geographically?
Chesapeake.
Oh, Chesapeake. Okay, I got you. Okay, I hear what you're saying. I'm glad you're there, sister. Man, do you have something to communicate to the people about these spiritual packages?
Oh, yes. I've been listening to Creating Your Own Reality. You made it back in 2004. I listened to it now for like 3 weeks, all night long. And there's so many questions I have regarding that CD. I want to ask at least one, but I want to share with the class is this. I cannot stress enough how much these CDs actually help you shift in consciousness.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. I was just by Marcus from TikTok.
By Marcus?
Yeah, his name's Marcus on TikTok.
He's a very good brother, and he's got a spiritual package coming too. I love him, and the brother Saru, he donated $100 too. So bless his soul.
Oh, bless you guys.
Yeah, sister, you in a place now. You can ask all your questions, everything you ever wanted to know. Marcus directed you to the correct place. So you here tonight, Marcus?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm glad to hear your tone. You got a package. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, sister. You were describing the benefits of the spiritual packages.
Yeah, I can't stress enough. When you get your CDs, you have to 100% listen to them all night long, continuous play. And I kid you not, you will start to feel a gradual shift in consciousness. If you don't do it, you're not gonna make the pickup. So with that being said, I listened to your CD, Creating Your Reality, back in 2004 you made, and I have a question regarding the sham.
Okay, what is your question about it?
Okay, in that particular class, you said you guys go up in the sham, and it's you for the class, right? And you said, well, I know there's 50 seats in the sham, and you said you would also invite someone to come with you in the sham. Can you elaborate a bit more for me? Because I'm trying to figure out what you meant by that.
Please, slow way down, sister. I don't understand you. You're losing me.
Okay. In the CD, right? You said that
Y'all shush your phone.
you want to go to the sham? Okay, hold on. You want to go up in the sham, right? Everybody thinks
in the sham, right? Slow, you got to slow way down now. Make us understand every single word.
I'm just
excited. Go up in the sham, right?
Right.
In the sham?
Think about it.
S-H-A-M?
Think about it.
Okay.
Yeah, the sham, yeah. And you said, think about it. And at 2:30 that night, you can pick us up, right? And then you said we also bring some other people with us.
Yeah.
The question I have is, there's 50 seats on the sham, right? What does 50 seats represent?
50 people. It's capable of carrying 50 passengers.
Say it again?
50 passengers. Yeah. 50.
Okay. So, 144,000 or
no.
You said you can invite someone up there as well.
There's 1,440 of the shams.
Okay.
In fact, there's 2,440 shams. 50 passengers each. Somebody do the math on it right quick. So it's a fleet of shams they're talking about, but you see, that was during the time when Malachi was ruling, right? It's my time to rule now. And what happened is, in 2013, roughly, and there was another pickup, 2023, right? So what we're talking about now is something called the event. I'm a spiritual guide. I'm the Messiah, a spiritual guide. So I'm taking you all up. Those of you that work hard and are very sincere, you're going to be taken up by me without the Ra. In other words, maybe some of you will be taken up by crafts. Some that are vibrating too slow a frequency will be, actually taken up in the event. But quiet is kept. Those of you that have been walking with me for years, purchasing your spiritual packages, and deeper than that, saturating them, really studying them, and supporting the class financially and every other way, and you really walking with the 144,000, you're more than likely already in the fifth dimension part of the time, if not most of the time. And you should start noticing subtle indicators around you that are getting more and more vivid and concise to prove that fact. Because this world is involved in what we call the Vesica Pisces. Vesica Pisces. Write it down and look it up. Vesica Pisces. And when you see a diagram, it'll point to the fact that the earth is indeed splitting. And that the old earth that's vibrating on the old Schumann resonance is being left behind, while the spiritual world is the same planet vibrating on two different distinct frequencies. So for Ty, what is the Schumann resonance right now? Did you look it up, June, the Schumann resonance? It was 33? Well, I don't know. I thought it was... But, Ty, what is the Schumann resonance now? And And could you look up the Schumann resonance, see what the Schumann resonance is right now on Earth? And that'll tell you, you have several ways to try to figure out exactly where you are. One of them is to read the Injil, authored by Father Bamianun, Dr. Malachi Z. York. Not the old King James version of it. That's a mistranslation, usually a transliteration. But I wanted in this class for us all to focus on the fact that we're living in the hereafter now. Because speaking for myself, I spend more time on the fifth plane than I do on the third. Mute your phone. How many? 7.83 hertz. 7.83. I thought it was 7.5. It raised up that quick more. Did you know that, June? In Florida, June. He may be having technical difficulty because he's being impacted by the storm down there in Florida. And Katat, I just want to make sure you all are safe. Katat, anybody here from Florida? I want you all, especially in the Big Bend area, to be very careful. It's a very dangerous storm. It's 400 miles across. It's very large. And is expected to hit landfall as a Category 4. And what they're worried about basically is the surge. The storm surge should be up to 20 feet. That's more dangerous than the Hurricane Michael, which Yanoon and I had something to do with Michael. Spread your wings to New Orleans and take a message to Michael, baby. It tore them up. It was the most costly hurricane in history since Noah been tracking them. Yeah. All right, who was that first question? Okay, very good.
I won.
Okay, I think that, who was that, you first, Marcus?
Hello.
Go ahead.
He said, "Oh, I would like to know what are some indicators to let you know that you're on the 5D. What would be some indicators?"
Okay, to know that you're on the 5D, you raised up in vibration. So, do you know what the Schumann resonance is right now, Marcus? Hello?
Well, that's not me speaking. That's someone else.
Oh,
this is for Amun.
Okay, this is for Amun, but who am I speaking to?
Hello.
Okay. Could you just pull up the Schumann resonance right now? A PDF, and if you could read some of that to us loud and clear, please. What the Schumann resonance is right now. I understand. Last time I saw it was 7.5. But now I'm told that it's 7.83. So it's raising up fast. In other words, there's a split in the earth. Now, as far as personal indicators, many of you all may have physical signs such as exhaustion, muscle cramps, pains in your joints, a loss of appetite or sleep. What? Dizziness. Difficulty breathing. And I know that's happening with the sister in Virginia, Sky. She's having breathing difficulties.
Yes.
That points to, for example, people that experience or suffer with a malady of asthma. Like myself, when I was a child, I had chronic asthma. It's due to the fact that a lot of you all are descended from extraterrestrial beings. and you have difficulty breathing in this atmosphere. If you're a Riskian, for example, of Riskian heritage. And another indicator is that you'll have a lot more vivid dreams. Please, star 6 your phone. Don't cough in the phone and what have you. Thinking we can't hear you disturbs the class. Please. And I shouldn't have to say that to you. You all are adults. Okay. Other outward indications are that, you know, for those of you that are older, you used to look up in the sky and it was just complete wonderment at how the sky was packed with stars, saturated with stars. Right? You had over 50,000 stars visible in the southern hemisphere and approximately the same number in the northern hemisphere. So, Rahubat, glad to hear your tone. You should have been able to see at least 50,000 stars in the sky every night, regardless of where you were, in the northern or southern hemisphere. But as of late, if you're a very conscious being, you've noticed that the numbers are diminishing. In other words, even on a clear night, you can almost count all the stars on both hands. And those of you that have a background in astronomy like myself, you'll notice that the constellation of Orion, for example, is much, much larger than it was years ago. Star 6 your phone. Mute it. And the reason it's larger is because you're getting closer to it. The Messiah is back. In English, you refer to him as Jesus. And he spoke about Uranus. That's Greek for Orion. When he told his disciples, in my Father's house there are many mansions. What he meant is that there are many worlds, habitable worlds in the Orion constellation. And it's also a nursery, a birthplace for stars. Right? Another indicator, son, that you're making a shift is that your dietary practices will change. You follow me? And you start eating less dense food. You start dropping the bloody meats, etc. And you go more mainly to vegetables and fruit, salads, etc. And a lot more water. Keep yourself hydrated. These things raise your vibrations. They don't bog you down and make you cumbersome and make your blood thick and bind you to the earth. Right? And, yeah. Also, outward signs of the shift, you can tell that there's a rise in temperature. For example, this summer right here was the hottest summer on recorded record since they've been monitoring it and recording temperature on Earth through NOAA and different meteorologic systems, right? The hottest summer on record. And that is having a lot of peripheral effects. The climate, for example, I was telling June earlier that the poles are melting at an ever quickening rate. North and South poles are melting quickly. And that's metric tons of fresh water that the Japanese, for example, were taking advantage of by taking large barges and getting a hold of icebergs that they could handle and dragging them all the way to Japan so they could use it for fresh water year-round. But the bigger problem that comes from that is that these glaciers are falling off en masse. One of them broke loose, for example, recently, that was larger than the state of Rhode Island. Do you understand what I'm not talking about the kind of iceberg that sunk the Titanic. I mean large icebergs And Greenland used to be part of the ice sheet. And you can see the grass and the trees. You can see the terrain under it now. And that's resulting, the warming temperatures resulting in a lot of volcanoes and earthquakes in the Greenland ice mass, or what used to be that ice mass. One of the signs, if you go to Revelations, it says that there'll be, you can't tell one season from the next. Brother against brother and sister against sister. There'll be plagues and earthquakes in diverse places. There's earthquakes everywhere. And there'll be wars and rumors of wars. Are you seeing that indicated in the news around you? You know you have wars and rumors. Say it again.
Yes, sir.
They're everywhere. You got wars in the Middle East. That's going to spark World War III. Over there in Israel and what have you. That they're also attacking Lebanon right now. Well, I'll tell you what they're trying to do. Israel is the United States police force in the Middle East. Because they're using the word Jew, but these are not Jews in the sense of the original Jews. Because you are the original Jews, the lost but now found tribe of Israel, the remnant of the tribe of Judah, of which there were 7,000 of you all that migrated to ancient Abyssinia or Ethiopia because you never bowed your knee to the image of Baal. You never bowed your knee to the image of the beast and worshipped it. The ones that did were attacked, killed, or taken off into captivity into ancient Babylon by the king Nebuchadnezzar. Right? But those of you that belong to the remnant were scattered abroad during the slave trade, and many of you ended up here in plantations called Salem, S-A-L-E-M. It was not just one place, but Salem is all over the map in the United States. Do your research. All right, now back to the brother. What happens when these great ice sheets break off from the poles? Because they're fresh, you have conveyor belts under the ocean floor. You have large conveyor belts of brine or salt water that circumambulate the planet. They go around Africa and Australia and South America. And this conveyor belt of cold water, but it's brine, salt water, it equalizes the temperature on Earth to balance it out to make it more temperate or cool in places where it's extremely hot. And to bring some, circle back around and bring some warmth to the real cold regions on the planet. But when these large icebergs break away, the fresh water pours down into these trenches, these saltwater trenches, and they displace the salt water with fresh water, and it slows down the conveyor belt, which results in an increased and accelerated heating of the planet. That also has its own domino effects, because the hotter the weather is, it affects the storm systems. So you'll notice that your tornadoes, mute your phone. Your tornadoes and your hurricanes are getting more and more intense. There was a time when a Category 5 tornado was something unusual. Or the flooding events we're talking about, like the Sisters, Shell, Sand, and London. It's getting far too frequent. You're having heavy-duty floods. That at one time we used to call them 1,000-year events, meaning that something of that magnitude only happened once in 1,000 years. An example is Hurricane Harvey in Texas. That was so much water dumped on Texas that that was comparable to Noah's flood, that amount of water, right? The problem with these 1,000-year weather events is they're happening sometimes 2 and 3 times a year. You remember that you had 3 major hurricanes in 1 year. The one that hit Puerto Rico, the one that hit Florida, Michael, and then Harvey that hit Texas. But what they did...
Wait, may I ask you something?
Say it again.
Do you believe in Jesus, or is it like a thing this is a genuine question?
Okay. What's the genuine question? Just slow down and pick up the volume. Let me hear you a lot clear.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you believe in Jesus?
Not in the traditional, conventional sense. If you're referring to a bearded white man on a Ku Klux Klan stick that was crucified and died for our sins, not that. Because if Jesus Christ died for our sins and the world is still sinning, then he died in vain. That's one thing you have to recognize, right? And in regards to reality, just plain reality, you know that existence, the Creator is omnipresent.
Bro, he just...
Okay, let me say, the Creator is omnipresent, am I right? God? You're obviously a Christian, but I need you to, in order to understand the answer to your question, I need you to answer a couple of questions. You know that God, one of his attributes is he's omnipresent, right? Meaning he's everywhere at the same time. Is that right? To the brother asking the question about do I believe in Jesus?
I think he left.
Well, he doesn't want to know the answer. You see, that's the problem with people nowadays. They ask questions, but they don't want the truth. What they want is confirmation of their already preconceived erroneous beliefs. They want a yes man.
I want you to see into the illusion that they created.
Exactly. And if they don't hear, what they've done is they've made an attempt to create God in their image and likeness and not the reverse. You follow? This is sad, and it's going to have a lot of different, like this Southern Christian thing that these white people are trying to perpetrate on society. They're actually white supremacists. And you got to understand that Christianity, like Islam, is a cruel hoax perpetrated on people. When the central figure that's charismatic to that belief does not look like you, nor you like it. But let me make the point that I was making to the brother, whether he's here or not, because everybody needs to hear. We know that the Most High Creator is omnipresent. He's everywhere at the same time. The question is what color is everywhere? You're speaking in the background and mute your phones. What color, class, is everywhere?
Black.
Say it again, a lot louder.
Black.
That's right, black. Blackness and void over the face of the deep, right. So if everywhere is black, and everybody understands as a collective that the Creator's attribute is he's everywhere, then the face of God is black. So it follows his son would also be black in his image. And so would Adam, the first man, and Eve. Now when I say first, I mean that there were 4 worlds here, and Adam and Eve, Zachary and Howard also had parents, right? But they too were black. white people are a phenomenon that recently just happened on the planet Earth 6,000 years ago, of which many of you all have ice cream and food in your refrigerator and shoes in your closet that are older than white people. You understand? So, no, I don't believe in Jesus in the image of the beast. And nobody with a logical mind believes that. Now, there's a section in the Holy Tablets that I walked you all through specifically about Christianity. And if that brother would have had patience, I would have took him through it and he could understand the diabolical fallout from people that believe in that fake Gentile religion, right? It's white supremacy and all its ugly manifestations is basically the Dow test. All right. Now, there was a brother here that had a good question about something, but he said, and that tickled me, he said, well, look, what about a real question? Do you believe in Jesus? And when I start coming out just saying, oh, yes, sir, I believe in Jesus. I believe in Jesus. But he was neglecting to say, do you believe in my concept of Jesus? My slave master alluded about Jesus. That's what he was trying to say. And the answer is absolutely not. I'm not a white supremacist. And I understand that realistically, that black people in this country, the United States, for example, 500 years ago, was geographically basically located in Africa. And prior to the Caucasian invasion, they had no access to Christianity, the King James Version, or white people. They didn't even know what white people looked like, and they didn't speak English. These things, horrors, came about with the slave trade, right? They were introduced to the devil through the slave trade, which itself was hell. You have to remember that the white man's heaven is a black man's hell, as Louis Farrakhan used to say in his song. But now, go ahead. Go ahead, sister. You have a question? That song. Yes, you do. Right. A white man's heaven is a black man's hell. And it's just as true today. It's still true. That's right. Which means that a black man's heaven, they would interpret that as a white man's hell. In other words, the devil's reality is based in lies and innuendo, mythology, and not in reality of facts. Right? Because the truth is their enemy. Just like he asked me, do I believe in Jesus? Yes, I believe in Jesus. I believe I'm here. But I don't believe in the Christian image of Jesus. Not at all. Anybody here still believe in the conventional Christian Jesus? Christ?
No, McGuire.
All right. Were you breaking the spell?
No.
Well, the brother that asked about how do you know that you shifted to the fifth dimension?
No, he remembered.
You see, that's what's happening is that the spell is being lifted from you. Now, about how you know you're moving into the fifth dimension, for me, my journey is a lot more intense. So that people that are in this class that came to visit me physically, I always take long walks. I used to take long walks, miles, especially in the summertime when it was over 100 degrees, bright summer days. And between coming and going, I would show them things that would open up their third eye, and they would see a lot of green lights in the sky, and they would see blue lights in the plants, and everything around them took on a green glow or hue. Indeed, green is what it is to be. They would also notice that when I walked on bright summer days, that my footsteps would have green and blue auras around them that would fade gradually as I lifted my feet up and kept walking. But you could see my footsteps were green and blue. Also, when I move stars, sometimes there's a strong wind, which is a spiritual energy that circles around me in the form of a vortex that would blow leaves in the fall in circles. So strong you could hear it over the phone many times. And I know James Brown's son, Darrell Brown, used to comment about it because he had a very keen ear as a musician. Also, there's a big, bright ball of light that's over the top of my head directly. It appears to be about 15 or 20 feet above my head, and I know what that came from. Because one night I went outside on the porch moving stars. I was moving stars directly for a guy called Monte. At that time, he was in Dakota in the United States and trucking through. And when I started moving the stars, I looked at one star in particular, and it started descending down in a very straight line trajectory towards my chest, just like on that picture, Michael. And I had experienced so many negative things out there in the spiritual realm with a particular personality, so much negativity, that I got turned off. And when it got right to the corner of the house, I threw my hand to wide follow-up and said, "Stop." And that star stopped, and I set it back up. And I call stars closer and push them up further right now for many people in class as a demonstration. But I know that that star was Ra, or Ray, and it was supposed to be inside of my chest, right? And it always accompanies me at a distance, about the distance of the corner of the house from the porch. But it's always directly over the top of my head as a bright, bright light. Also, you'll notice that when I move stars, regardless of where you are, you could be in Africa or China. Many times you see the trees and houses light up blue and emanate a blue aura. How many of you have borne witness to that blue light aura around things when I move stars sometimes?
I have.
Very good. Very good.
I have.
All right.
And I have.
That's very good, because I am the blue light Pharaoh, and my color is blue, not green like Malachi, because it's my time to rule. Malachi's ruled from 1970 to the year 2000, the first half hour, and my time to rule from the year 2000 to 2030, August 12th, the second half hour, right? And this is the spiritual age. So the planet is shifting via the Schumann resonance. Also, I would ask anybody, my son, have you checked out the Mandela effect? The young brother that asked about signs of the dimensional shift. Have you checked out the Mandela effect on YouTube?
Oh, not on YouTube, but I've seen clips on different platforms.
Okay, could you describe? Okay, there's some of them in there, just like Jiffy peanut butter is known internationally, but in the new world, it's no longer Jiffy, it's simply Jif. Has anybody noticed that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And you know, there was a theme song about Betty Crocker. Nobody does it like, Sarah Lee. Nobody does it like Sarah Lee. But now it says nobody doesn't like Sarah Lee, which is nonsensical. So, brother, give us some of the signs that you found in the Mandela effect that really shocked your senses.
I have one.
Very good. Speak up.
The Lowe's sign, it used to have that pie thing. I don't know the name of it, but it was like from Thanksgiving. It used to have the thing on there where the fruits and the food would be inside of it.
Yes.
But they say that never existed. And I figured that one out on my own because I knew it was missing, but they just said it was never on there.
I follow you, son. I'm glad you're paying attention. It gladdens my heart. There are a lot of things that's missing. Right?
Yes,
like
sir.
the very Bible, the Bible itself is not referred to in the New World as the King James. It's the Prince James Bible. If you don't believe me, just type in Prince James Bible. It'll come up. The Lord's Prayer is different. The whole Bible, you should type in Mandela effect, biblical changes. So there are thousands of signs that there's a new world. The fifth dimension and higher, they're opening up. That's due to the equinox, because every 25,000 years, God incarnates. The cosmos rotates in a large circle. Everything does. As far as Earth is called the entropy of Gaia. And as it resonates, we move into different phases, right? For example, with the cycles, it's about 25,000 years, but it's rounded off to 24,000. That they calibrated 6,000 years moon cycle, 6,000 years sun cycle, then again 6,000 years moon cycle and 6,000 years the sun cycle. Now we're into the solar era now, the 6,000 years sun cycle, which explains the ever-increasing heat, right? It's going to get a lot hotter. So that white people, for example, are going to have to go underground again due to the ultraviolet rays of the ever-intensifying sunlight. They can't handle that intense sunlight and still live. So if you do some research on Turkey and the underground cave systems that they had there, the Pleiadians ushered them underground. 699,000 of them, they lived underground in the darkness. That's where you get these stories about cavemen. They really lived in the caves, and they degenerated in the darkness and resorted to eating human flesh, cannibalism, etc., and bestiality. But they lived down in those filthy conditions for 600 years until the moon cycle came back in and they began to surface again. Well, we're there again in that cycle. The 6,000 years has passed, and the sun is heating up again. There's no effect on the people of the sun, but upon them, it's an indicator that their end is here, at least as surface dwellers. Even though for those of you that haven't researched it already, you should type in, why are white people dying faster than they're being born? Right? But now, you see that there are different changes. For example, they're not going in caves underground in numbers. They do have a lot of underground bases that can maintain large segments of the population of the elite only. But these malls that they're building, for example, they're not underground, but this is a safe harbinger for the Caucasus race. Also, they're shifting their system so people are being allowed to work out of their homes now, so that they can avoid the sunlight, air conditioning, and they're migrating to northern parts of the country and the world indeed, because the cold conditions are conducive to their leprosy. You follow me? But they are dying faster than they're being born, because the sun cycle is an indicator of the end of the white people. People, as you know it, you call them people, and I have a problem with that. Because when they landed on the moon, they told you themselves, this is another small step for man. Speaking about you, because you've been an intergalactic traveler since the dawn of creation, but a giant leap for mankind, referencing itself. You know that when he feels an army and one of his soldiers drop or fall, and the sergeant runs up and he snatches something off of the neck of the dead soldier. These tags are called what?
Dog tags.
No, no.
Yeah, they're called dog tags. And they have a canine core. Everybody knows what a canine is. Their God spelled backwards is dog, whom they say is man's best friend. And it's true, because they kept the dogs in their caves for protection, and predominantly they used the dog to lick the pus out of the leprous sores that constantly oozed, right? Dripping in their food and poisoning them, etc. So dog became their best friend. I know I was working on a job with white people one time, briefly, and there was this one white guy. He used to just walk up to us, and he'd turn his head and stare at his shoulder, and there was nothing on his shoulder. Like he was talking to some invisible being, and he would answer, say, yes, I understand. And it was like a running joke, because he said that all of his relatives eat raw meat. They like their meat bloody red. They eat raw meat.
Yep.
And that was good. Now, I know that to be a fact, because when I was in my home city of New Orleans, Louisiana, I was walking from Swagman's supermarket in the summertime with my family. And a white guy that I considered my friend, he walked up to me with conversation. He had a bag. He'd just come out of Swagman just like us. And he had a pack of raw ground beef. And while we were talking, he just took his fingers and busted open the package. And he dipped in and started eating the raw ground beef in front of us while he was talking. And I told him, I said, "You're not going to cook that?" He said, "Oh, no, we never cooked it. We eat this raw. It tastes better like that." And everybody in my family, looked at him with disgust, and I told him to just go on home. Because you have to realize, Jeffrey Dahmer, if they can eat meat raw, think about your own safety and that of your family. Because indeed, there are certain white people that have silver eyes with a black dot in the center. You've seen them. Look almost like husky dogs.
Mm-hmm.
They look just like them in the eyes. Well, those are the ones that when they hear a certain tone that'll go off, that they're going to run out from wherever they are and just start biting people in the neck and eating people, like you saw them assailing a couple of years back when they were talking about they were knocking people down and eating their face off and what have you. These are zombies. It's their nature to eat raw meat, and they will be doing it again. So you watch the ones with the silver eyes and the black dot, because they will revert to cannibalism again. All right. The brother that asked the question about the signs that we're making into the shift, I'd like to know if that answers your question. If not, please turn it and I'll expound more.
So, you
Please speak up.
You hit it on the head.
You sure? Well, what is your next question? Who else has the next question? Whatever it is.
I don't quite see that question.
Very good. Just slow down, sister, please.
Okay, so we have made it to the dimensional shift, but we still see the same people.
Okay. Yes, you're going to see the same people in the same trees and all of the same things you used to see, but it's a different resonance. It's a human resonance. Things are vibrating on a faster frequency because there's a shift in consciousness. In other words, it's what you call the spiritual realm is opening up as your reality, because those of you that are walking with me are beginning to turn yourself inside out in your perspective of who and what you are. It's almost like going from the walking wake state to the dream state. And when you say, does everybody look the same? They do most of the time. But just like in dreams, when you travel in your dreams, you see people, friends, and relatives. Many times they take on a different outward appearance in your dream, but you still know it's them. You follow me? That's why I ask you all, when you have an out-of-body experience, astral flight, to try to find a mirror so you can look at yourself and you'll be amazed at how different you appear.
Mm-hmm.
You hear me?
Yes.
Because when you say other people, you have to understand that all of us are one, and every one of you are your own brother and sister. In other words, there's only one entity out here, Spa'ut, that have been multiplied by deception into individuals. There's only one presence, one being. That was brought out when I told you about an experience I had in another reality. I am an interdimensional being, interdimensional traveler. I was standing over a black coffin, and a young teenage boy came out and invited me into his home, pushed his fist through the walls and the floors, etc. His mama came out that looked just like him and flopped on the couch. I walked across the room, turned my back, and to my right, there was a large, full-length mirror. This is the best way I can describe it. And I kept seeing myself thousands of times in different images, different physical bodies. It was flashing before me. I could see myself in a lot of different physical forms. And I was confused by that. But there was a voice above my head that said, "He's waking up."
Mm-hmm.
Now I realized that I was waking up to the reality that I am you and you are me. You follow me? In the quantum reality, you're not separate and distinct. And you should do unto your brother and your sister as you would they would do unto you, because you are indeed your brother and your sister.
True.
We are all one. Remember that. In my reality, the prime example of that is Father Babianoon. And all of his letters to me, personal letters and communications with me, he always breaks off with, remember, you and I are one. Right? And we're merging. We're coming together more and more. And when we do come fully together, that'll be the completion of the new heaven and the new earth, and it'll be a wonderful existence for everybody. When that which is above and that which is below come together and merge. And 1,440 degrees of knowledge, right? When 720 and 720 come together, it will be 1,440 degrees of knowledge.
Right.
And behold, I looked at Mount Zion, there stood a lamb, and with him 144,000, with their father's name written in their foreheads. This is really happening, family. All right, June. in Florida. How are the effects of that hurricane right now?
We have some pretty strong winds outside. Slight rain here and there, but overall we're hanging on. We're pretty good. The lights are still on.
Well, yeah, but I got you under protection. I really meant about the areas surrounding you, the counties around you.
Flooding and whatnot.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
We'll know the total impact tomorrow, around noon, perhaps.
It hasn't even made landfall yet, has it?
That I'm not sure. Not even.
No, it didn't make landfall.
Not even keeping track.
It didn't It didn't make landfall yet.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's right. So you can understand the intensity when it's going to go over the city of Tallahassee directly. Yeah, directly over Tallahassee. All right, who was that next question?
This is a Nucleus. I was saying that they say that the storm is still 355 miles out. It has not
yet. It is 455 miles. What's a large storm? All right, the brother that asked about signs of the hereafter, or the fifth dimension, is another one you can check on, brother, is that the snow is fake all over the earth right now. It's a synthetic snow. It's not real snow anymore. So, and look it up on YouTube. The snow is fake all over the world. And many people here in this class have went out to test that theory by taking a big lighter or a blowtorch and trying to melt the snow, and it turns black. It doesn't melt.
Yep.
It is fake snow all over the earth.
I experienced that.
You did. You see, so that's one of the signs, beloved, of the fact that we are now. Say it again.
I said I saw that too. I stood there with the lighter and actually did not.
Yeah.
No, it just burns up.
I would strongly suggest that all of you that live in the northern hemisphere, if and when it does snow, because a lot of places that used to experience snow frequently won't experience it anymore because of the sun cycle. But if you do see snow, run out and gather some and try to burn it, and you'll be amazed. It's not snow at all. How many of you tried to burn the snow last winter?
I tried it years ago. It didn't burn. Didn't melt.
It didn't burn. That's right. It was Father Babianoon that told me about that personally years ago. And he said to me, there'll be snow in Millersville, Georgia, but it won't be real. It'll be synthetic snow, and it won't melt. It'll burn black. And it did snow, which is unusual for Georgia because this is a warmer aspect of the climate in the south. But the snow didn't burn. I mean, it didn't melt. It did turn black, like styrofoam. So that's another sign that we're in the new heaven and new earth, son. Another sign that indicated that we're in the fifth dimension.
Amun?
So I want to repeat. Go ahead.
Okay, so the fifth dimension, why would they have fake snow?
Well, because that's another indicator of a new heaven and a new earth. It's a spiritual realm. And it also points towards your food. Those of you that used to buy a lot of fast food, you'll notice that when you buy it now, it used to have a taste to it, but now it tastes like cardboard or paper. It's not real food. Are you following me? And that's due to several factors. There's an increase in population, and they don't come in. They don't have enough food to feed billions of people. And also, because the more you all shift to a spiritual reality, Your spirit doesn't require food. In other words, you shift it into, turn it into a being that won't need to eat food at all. Your energy will be your sustenance. You follow me? And I know this may shock you, but you can look on the internet and Google people that no longer eat, and there'll be people coming up scientifically proven not to eat, and they're still maintaining their weight and what have you, and still thriving and living a healthy life without food. All these things couldn't have been possible in the old world. Another thing that points definitely, definitively to the fact that we're in a new dimension, son, is that those of you that are with me are performing miracles and receiving the benefits of the same, and that many of you are receiving healings from cancer and COVID, AIDS, and many other maladies that would be Christ-like, you know. And a lot of you with me are beginning to move stars and use telekinesis as one of your higher senses, because you've been functioning on 5 lower senses: see, hear, feel, smell, taste, and touch. But you have 4 higher senses: telepathy, intuition, clairvoyance, and psychometry, that you're beginning to rely on more and more, which is a strong indicator that you shifted into the 5th dimension, or you're transforming into gods, right? Just think about it. I'm a spiritual guide as the Messiah, and those of you that are attracted to this class and to me and this mission, you are the elite few, the 144,000 purifiable souls that are indeed shifting back into spiritual beings. And you too will be 720 degrees of knowledge. 720 degrees. And when you marry that, bring that which is below and that which is above together, that'll total 144. Right? So I want you all to be very happy and understand. And that was a very good question you asked too, brother. And also, like I said, the Schumann resonance, you know, you can check that out and see that it's doubled in the last, since 2013. The Schumann resonance has doubled. Backtrack it and see. And know that the aspect of this world that's raising up in frequency due to the Schumann resonance, or not due to it, but as the resonance is a way to monitor it and regulate. That's the world that we are shifting into as spiritual beings. And a lot of times, son, you're going to see light orbs and different beings and creatures in your peripheral vision, and it'll be in such a fleeting glance, so quick you won't really believe you saw that. But I want you to start trusting your own senses. You all are going to start having a lot more vivid dreams.
Yeah.
That you're flying and floating, and you have definite out-of-body experiences that you think when you wake up was a dream, but it was actually an OBE, out-of-body experience. Right? And you find a lot of instruments in my spiritual packages to help you to train and learn how to initiate astral flight or OBE and many other things. So this is a very wonderful time we're in, but don't forget it's very challenging and dangerous for those left behind. By that I mean the beings that are still in the physical flesh, the carnal beings. They're still vulnerable and susceptible to plagues, disease, bullet and knife wounds, aging, and death. Right? But know this, speak not of my followers as dead, for they live, but you perceive not. Because you're being taught the etiquettes of the spiritual plane, you won't experience the second death like everybody else. Because you know the body is not you. It's only a fungus clinging to the light. And the reality is that you are a mere enigma. And the reality and substance of you is your inner being and not the outer. That's why Panababianu keeps directing us to turn ourselves inside out. Right?
Yep.
So come out of them, my people. That's right. Come out of them, my people. Speaking about the carnal physical world, be ye not partakers of her sins, so you won't be partakers of her chastisement and punishment. Come out of the body, and you won't experience aging or pain or death or hunger or disease. Because when you're speaking about the fifth plane or the new heaven and the new earth, it's described as that there'll be no more thirst, no more hunger, no more sickness, no more pain, no more death. For the former things will have passed away. That can only be true if you're a spiritual being, because in the spirit, you never get hungry, which means there's no necessity for food. You can't get sick. You follow me? You can't age. In fact, you can maintain any age that you want forever. That's why I ask those of you that are serious to make sure that I know, after you contemplate and think on it a long time, you know exactly what age you want to be forever. Whether it's 19 or 25 or whatever it is, and repeat it to me enough for it to sink into my super subconscious so I'll remember. You follow me? I've had spiritual experiences where I've been walking along a beach, and a lot of you all will follow me dressed in long white robes. Beautiful, white. And you look like a cloud. We did look like a cloud walking together. And you saw sheer cliffs where people were living in apartments way up in the cliffs and in the trees. In your spiritual packages, you receive DVDs by hypnotists and different people that will confirm the new heaven and the new earth and the ascension. Because, like I said, myself and the sister Anukas Amun here, who were taking a walk in Millersville, Georgia, maybe a couple of years ago, and we were walking right into the dimensional shift. All the colors got bright, the sky got closer, and it had dynamic colors. The trees were giant, and everything was eerily peaceful. It was like there was nobody in the world but us until we saw one brother walking up the street towards us. When we started looking down the street, all we saw was bright lights. We could not see any background like trees or houses behind that light. It was just light surrounding us, and a feeling of supreme bliss, just serenity, just draped us. It just fell over us. It was nothing but peace. Peace, be still. It was just paradise in heaven. And had we just kept walking straight down there, I may not be on the phone with you right now. But I hope it's not rebellion that I've turned away from heaven so many times, but out of a sense of responsibility to you all, because I was ordered to successfully complete the duties of my mission, which is you all, and then to work hard and prepare to return to my Rab, Amun. Right? Rab, the nourisher, the sustainer, the one that brings you up. All right, next question.
I got a question.
I'll do my best. Go ahead.
So, like, what does ringing in the ears typically mean? Because I heard it meant like
ringing in the spirit. You say
ringing in the ears.
Oh, the ringing in the ear. What it is that you all, many of you all, are the descendants of extraterrestrial beings, right? Which are really the reverse because they're your descendants. Because extraterrestrials that you see are actually you in the future, coming at yourself again from your past through your future to make corrections, 99 corrections. But the ringing in the ear is the indicator that the crafts, interdimensional crafts, like from 5D and above, are close to you. And they're scanning you. And the device creates a ringing in your ear that sounds like tinnitus, high-pitched frequency. And in order to realize this, you just need to sit down comfortably with your spine straight, feet 2 feet apart, rest your open palms on your thighs or your knees, breathe deep, and then start clapping your hands together to create a hollow sound with the palm of your hand, with the air, creating a hollow sound, and do the Om. Om, Amun, Om, Kulum, Om, Amun, Om. And you see the craft appear over your head, right? What they're actually doing, son, is scanning you. And you, their children, they want to make sure that you don't have, for example, any leaky blood vessels, because they want to maintain your physical form that's necessary to carry you across the gap to the spiritual perfection. They need you to survive so you can learn this information through beings like Panababianun and, of course, myself, so that you be safe in the spiritual realm again, comfortable with peace and security reigning on all sides in your long home again. But they repair what light amplifiers, stimulation, emission radiation, or laser beams. They repair broken vessels and things like that to make sure you don't have a brain hemorrhage or something that'll take you out before we gather you. You follow me?
Yeah.
And that's what that ringing is. Mm-hmm. Also, that ringing is a tone that we use to keep you in tune with the higher realms. And it's going to be a tone that we use to tell you all, give you directions as to where to gather for the transformation or for a pickup. In the same way, you hear those tones on the television every now and then. Has this been an actual event? We have given you directions and times to be such and such a place, right? You follow me? So we keep you in tune with that tone so that we'll be able to, at some time, give you all information as to what to do when it's time for a pickup and where to go. We're not going to do anything so barbaric or arcane as to telegraph over the phone, call up people, or text, or beat people and tell them, look, we got to all meet here, such and such thing for the pickup, because you'll be giving that information to the enemy as well. And where they don't have the power to stop us from getting to you, they may possess the power to stop you from getting to us. So we have to have a way to communicate things to you all without them knowing it. And that's the technique that we'll use. That frequency, okay?
Okay.
All right. Next question.
I have one.
Rahubat. Okay, brother, go ahead. Just have your patience, sister. I'll be right with you.
How do you know you've made it to the new heaven? How do you know you've made it to the new heaven? What's the indicator for that?
Well, people around you will start noticing a glow in your skin and your hair, almost like a pregnant woman. You'll have this vital glow about you, and you won't suffer sickness and hunger. You won't ever feel sleep deprived. You follow what I mean? And the reality will start shifting for you in that. An example is, I was reading The Wisdom of Tahuti, a book authored by Potter Babianoon, on the steps of my store to write stuff to two of my daughters one time. And I got so deep into the book and the rhythm of it that all of a sudden we heard the insects, crickets and etc. They got louder and louder. And my store is on a main highway, so the traffic is always heavy. But the insects actually drowned out the trucks and cars, and it got louder and louder and louder. And I was confused, and so were they, as to what that was, until I realized much later that I was getting in tune with nature. That nature took precedence over this illusory reality and made its presence known through the insects, etc., right? That's another way. And for people that are really transforming, they're going to get a set of the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek from me, a sacred order. Whereas that when you get deeper into it, if you really sincerely follow the directions, I have one brother that came to my house and he was deep into the order, and he would say frequently that he'd been woke for 3 or 4 days. And he wasn't looking like he was rest broken. Also, you become so sensitive that you can hear ants walk. Imagine that. And there'll be a sweet substance that'll pour down out of your gums through your teeth. Salsabil, a very sweet substance that you'll taste. And sometimes many of you all will smell flowers in the atmosphere. Sweet smells in the atmosphere. While the negative beings smell a very foul odor frequently and don't know where it's coming from. Right?
Okay.
And that substance comes out, we call it paradise milk. And like I said, an increase in energy. All the prophets, men and women that were sent, and there were 124,000 prophets, 315 apostles, 113 messiahs, and of course, one Mahdi, that was Ahmed, myself. They were all sent to different geographical places at different times. But they could all perform miracles, and they didn't sleep or eat much. I wanted to let you know, too, son, that asked about signs of the shift. If any of you all have access to a globe of the world, you can see something very amazing. You can type in Mandela effect, comma, geographical changes. And one of the most dramatic is that you can see that South America was directly under North America before. So that created the separation between South America and Africa. But after the shift, a few years later, there's been a dramatic change in that South America has jetted out into the Atlantic Ocean so far that it looks like you can throw a rock and hit Africa. But it's most visible on a round globe, right? And there are a lot of other geographical distinctions, like the Australia. Now on the right-hand side, there was a big straight peninsula jutting up from the top of it, headed straight toward the European landmass, and it's only 600 miles away from land. And Australia used to be further south. That's why they called it the land down under. And Madagascar has moved. Italy is shaped different. The United States is longer horizontally, but it's thinner from north to south. China is about one-third the size it used to be. Pay attention. People are accepting their surroundings through conditioning. You know, it's a lot of things that you all are seeing and experiencing that you know are strange, different, and highly unusual, but you dismiss it because you look around at other people in the world and they don't seem to be reacting to any changes in the food, the atmosphere, the weather, or indeed inside of themselves. Because there are also anatomical changes. Your kidneys, son, are 2 inches higher and larger. You have in your skulls, those that are with me, you can start feeling your skull, and there is a long indentation in your skull on the left and right side, like where a man parts his hair. If you rub your head right there, you can feel like there's a line, like your skull is separating due to a lot more brain matter. And your heart is more right to center, where it used to be on the left side of your chest. Put your hand there and feel for it to beat, and you find that it's closer to the center than it used to be. It's not on the left now, it's more right to center. Somebody opened that door right then. Yeah. You understand me, son? So as we go on, a lot more of these dimensional shift changes are being revealed to me. Right? I'll tell you what I'll do.
Right.
If you're the one that ordered the spiritual package, Marcus, I'll put in a book called The Dimensional Shift by Padre Babianoon. Do you have it already?
No, I do not.
Well, you will. Among other treasures, that'll be one of them.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Next question.
I have a question.
Okay. I'll do my best.
You said that we will be able to see shadows and beings around us. Where are they coming from, these...
Other dimensions, higher dimensions, and some lower, I hate to say regretfully. But what's happening is that as you raise up in vibration, and you definitely doing it, Cheryl. Oh, this is Ann. Okay.
It's Ann.
Yeah, because I know Cheryl, when she was moving stars not too long ago, she noticed that the background, the telephone poles and the buildings and trees were also moving. And I know that that's an indicator that she's shifting into the fifth dimension and higher. Because this is a mental creation. It's a thought world. All right, so now, Ann, what was your question again? Please repeat so I can approach it very clearly.
Yes, it's about where the being. You've answered it. And also, you mentioned about your body start to change. Your organs are moving. Your heart, your kidney, and...
oh, you mean anatomical changes?
Yes.
Okay. Unfortunately, they're not outward indicators of that. Just like you can look at the globe to see that South America and Africa are a lot closer than they were before. What you learned in school or you can see the stars are not as dense as they used to be, or constellation is closer, or, you know, a lot of these outward signs. Unfortunately, anatomical changes inside your body are hard to regulate unless white people want to confess to you that that's what's happening. You follow what I mean? But right now, if you put your hand on your chest to feel your heartbeat, you'll find and it's closer to the center of your chest than it was before. Remember, your heart used to be located on the left hand, and when you go to court, they tell you to swear on the Bible, you put your hand on the left side of your chest. Remember that?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, but now when you feel, check for your heartbeat now, and you see it's more right to center.
Yes.
You feel it?
I have noticed something strange for a while where I feel like, you know, I had a like tightening sensation in the middle.
Right. Now check it now, and I want you to check. You put your hand on the side of your head, over your temple, your skull, and rub up and down and feel. See if you can feel a line in your skull, like a separation, like a dent.
Oh, in the middle?
Not in the middle, right on the side, over the top of your temple.
On the side.
Yeah, just feel.
To the left or right?
Both. Yeah. Left first, I would do.
Yeah, I feel that
like a ridge or something in the skull.
Yeah. Well, I do know that my right side used to be larger than, you know, used to be.
Okay, I understand. But on both sides.
I noticed it's more even.
Right. Now what it is that your brain is expanding. You know, like a gray, when you see them with the real big heads, your brain mass is expanding and your skull is separating to accommodate that growth. You follow me?
Yeah, I noticed it's balanced now. My left and my right is more or less even. My right used to be a bit larger.
Exactly. And that gap is getting wider. So you need to look up something called sagittal suture. Sagittal suture is a line in the skull, like you said, on the top, that extraterrestrials have that mortals don't. So when they find these ancient skulls with the long heads in Egypt and different places like Nazca, they unearth these extraterrestrial skulls. They don't have a sagittal suture. In other words, they're anatomically different than a human skull. And you all are transforming in your skull, in your skeletal structure, just like them. People are becoming smaller than they used to be. Many of you all's grandfather wore size 13 shoe, 48 coat. They were big, big men and women. But now people are becoming smaller and smaller. And you'll notice when you look at your Nubian men, look at athletes and things, a lot of the brothers are bald-headed now. Young men are bald. Have you noticed that? Think back.
Yes, I do.
All of a sudden, they're losing their hair. When you're a 9 etheric being, you don't have any hair. You follow? Yeah. A 9 ether being doesn't even have body. But losing the hair is the beginning of becoming shifting into an extraterrestrial. You can see there are a lot of anatomical changes, especially in the Nubian, which if you slow it down, that's the new being. The new being is you all. And a lot of people thinking that they come into class, donating, posting up posts all over the world to millions of people, and they're thinking to themselves, why am I doing this? I don't notice any difference. Wrong. It's like boiling a frog. You put it in a pot of cool water, turn it on the lowest possible fire, and the water gradually heats over periods of time, so slow in such tiny increments that even before it comes to a boil, the frog is backstroking and enjoying himself because he's acclimating to the temperature as it rises. And until you start dropping carrots and things around him, he don't even realize what he's smelling is the self-cooking. What I'm saying is that you all are walking into the dimensional shift with me. Okay, remember before you met me, here's something that's overt and obvious. You never saw or heard people moving stars, and you never even imagined that you could do that. Remember that, Ann?
Yeah, I do.
True.
Okay, there's an outward indicator right there, obvious sign that can't be, there's a lot of about, no doubt in it. You follow me?
Yeah.
You all are walking into heaven with me, step by step and day by day. You're being raised up, right? Into the new heaven and the new earth. And what I'm doing is firmly planting your feet in the new heaven and the new earth, not in the lower vibratory world that's being left behind, the world of the greedy and the evil, the reptiles and so forth. They're being left behind. They don't have the ability to transform or make the shift. So they'll be left behind with that which they create. Hell. You follow me? Now, speaking of moving stars, I'm told that it's that time right now. So everybody that can see stars, please go out and perform that miracle for us. It's important to make that testimony to the world and also for yourself personally, because you get an opportunity again to exercise that spiritual muscle. So, what do you see in the sky? Sky in Virginia. Ann and Cheryl, can y'all see anything in the London sky?
It's raining where I am.
I'm sure it's raining everywhere. It's raining all over the world. Okay, in D.C., but Todd, what do you see in the sky? Amun, what do you see in Ohio?
I'm going outside right now.
Thank you. Marcus, where are you located?
Ohio. I'm going outside right now.
Very good.
It's cloudy.
It's cloudy in London. Yeah, I figured. The sister told me it was raining there right now.
Yeah, it was earlier on. It seems all right on my end, but there are blue patches in the sky, but it's cloudy in general.
I'm mad I can't go outside. Right. Sorry.
All right. I'm waiting for you. And when you move these stars, brother, again, you're going to have to remind yourself that you never could do that before you met me. So that's just one of the indicators that you're shifting into a new heaven and a new earth. Because scripturally speaking, it says, to those of you that believe in Jesus, unto them give he powers to them as gods. And unto those of you that believe in him, even unto his name, unto they give he them eternal life. And not even death can snatch them from his hand. So it's a very powerful thing happening right here.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see?
The cloud seems to be moving around me.
Okay. You want to move? You want to try to open them up?
If it's possible.
Oh, it is possible.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it is possible. Okay.
I bear witness.
I hear you. Okay, now, can you see, let me ask you, and can you see a silhouette of the moon or something under the clouds that you want me to part the clouds in a particular place? Or you just want them to move? Okay, I want the clouds to move to the left in the name of Amun-Rayay. Move to the left.
Move to the left in the name of Amun-Rayay. It's moving.
That's right.
It's moving to the left.
I see it. That's right. Now, is it possible, and let me ask you, and is it possible to move the clouds?
Yes, it is.
That's right.
It's moving to the left. Where else can you move it to?
Well,
can
let's
you
move
open
them.
it up? Oh.
You want to move them? You want to move them up?
Open it up.
He's talking about some.
It's opening up.
Say it again.
Opening up now. I can see it coming over my head. And
Okay.
I can see more blue. It's opening up.
I'm opening it up right now as we speak.
More.
Yeah.
Yes. That was a shock. I just saw it above my head. I didn't see the blue before.
That's right.
There's clouds.
But that's what you asked me to do, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Oh my goodness.
That's right. I'm opening it up wider.
Yeah.
That's right.
Definitely.
That's right. You may be able to see a star in a minute, you know.
Now you know it's possible, Anne.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I knew it was possible, but...
And that's one of Cheryl's favorite things. Cheryl moves the clouds all the time. She likes to do it. Yes. And she's right. Now you know it's possible. All right, the brother in Virginia, what do you see in the sky? Ohio. Are you there? The brother that was going outside to check the sky, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, what do you see?
It's just cloudy for me in Ohio.
Okay. You want to move the clouds to the left?
Yes, I would like to. But my phone's
all right,
100%, so it might die.
All right. Oh. Clouds, move to the left in the name of Amun-Rayay. You see? I can see it.
I can see it a little bit.
Yeah, they're moving to the left. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So, let me tell you, all things are possible with you all as you transform into deities. So for the brother that wanted to know signs of a dimensional shift or entering the 5D, you just experienced some of the signs tonight. So I want to encourage everybody else to donate to keep this mission going, keep it up, and indeed expanding it, and post it up to post that thousands of people world over every time I put them out. Post to post up is important that you do that. Because remember, when you lead people to heaven, who gets there first? You do. But nothing from nothing leaves nothing. If you don't support the 144,000 in any way, then you won't be counted in that final number. So do your part. Play your part to the bottom of your heart. I love you all. Nitia Authority, Amun-Rayay, Asa, servant of 144,000. One love. Peace.